Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Apeirophobia's lore. This time, we're going to dig even further into the game. Before that, I want to address the previous lore videos I've made. Every video you see up on screen will no longer be canon to my theories. If I try to make sense of what the story was in the past with what we know now, it would get way too confusing, and that's just not something we need. This video will be a fresh start. With that being said, let's get into it. My goal with this video is to make sense of what role the levels play in the story, and of course, everything and anything to do with the Watcher. I won't be talking about any other entities unless they have a specific connection to other lore bits. Let's begin with what I call the introduction to a new reality. Level 0. A familiar place we've seen in every single Backrooms game. But this one is a little different. This time, we're not in an alternate dimension or some tangible reality. Explaining the rules of this reality is tricky to navigate. It acts like a world between worlds, but it isn't a place we can simply travel to. Nor is it all in our head. Our actions have consequences and weight. That's been made clear to us by the Watcher himself.
And there are ways out. But it depends on what you're willing to sacrifice. Nothing comes for free.
That's about all we have regarding how this world works. The rest is left to speculate. But that's a topic that needs its own separate video. Not to mention, we really don't have a lot to refer back to with these first couple levels, so for the sake of keeping this video clear and concise, I'm going to hold off on it. Regardless if we don't know exactly the inner workings of this place, we know enough to build on. Levels 0 through 5 are areas that get us settled in for what's to come. For that reason, I've decided to lump them into what I call the first layer. Now it's starting to get interesting. As we traverse this new reality, we come across things such as rooms with pools of water, areas with parking garages that seem to go nowhere, an office, and a cave system. All what seems to be random, foggy iterations of real-life environments. Nothing has a theme or motif. It is as random as it gets. As we continue on, we reach the start of what I like to call Layer 2. Things become immediately more difficult as we're thrown into a new place. We're faced with the biggest creature we've seen yet, and as we're running for our life, we reach the end and burst into a library. A library. Things are starting to piece together, almost as if imitating real-life environments. But not quite. Sure, we've seen things prior to this that seem normal, like an office, but in that case, it was 1 out of 5 levels that I deem normal. Though not every level in Layer 2 makes the most sense, 4 out of the 6 levels feel more natural to be in. A hallway, a library, another office, and a parking lot. Whatever this world is, it's slowly developing a common theme, though it still contains a few hiccups along the way, that being a gigantic pool room and a warehouse located in the abyss. Level 12 marks the end of Layer 2 and the beginning of Layer 3. I should mention before I go on, while all this is happening, the Watcher is making his presence more known, leaving portraits of himself behind, writing on the walls to help navigate us in the right direction, and even bits of clues of what's to come in the foreseeable future. And that clue being the next big character to the story, the Orison. We finally meet the Orison face to face in the ocean of the final frontier. Though it seems menacing, it is not violent and only makes its presence known to us. Given that the Watcher leaves murals behind of this creature and a teaser showcasing both him and the Orison, we can only assume they have some sort of relation with each other. Though he's not physically present, the Watcher's presence lurks in the form of a chalkboard. A chalkboard filled with tidbits of lore and things relating to the Orison, Kamilohas, self-expression, etc. He leaves us behind a goose hunt, a hunt for trust. We follow his directions and find ourselves a tape at the edge of our feet. Next to it reads, "When the time is right, there is something you should look for. I will tell you when. You must come find my writings when the dust settles. From there on, we traveled to the last and final level of both Layer 3 and Chapter 1, Crumbling Memory. We've seen this place before, only this time, it's decrepit. It's almost as if this reality tried to bring us back to the very thing that jump-started this all. But this time, we were prepared. We had a plan. We were going to destroy the very thing that made this world so dangerous. The creatures. But we weren't alone. The Watcher was going to help us too. He left behind directions to items we could use to defend ourselves. A gasoline can, a box of matches, and a bear trap. We assemble all these items together, lure the creature, and destroy it for good. This was a test, and because of this, the Watcher deems us worthy. He finally reveals himself to us in what form he could. He explains he's been looking for us and that he's here to help. After all, that's what friends are for. We've reached the beginning of Chapter 2 and Layer 4. Left's Guard is what looks to be a successful attempt of recreating a place for memory. This empty reality sought out to do this in the ocean of the Final Frontier, but failed. We can come to this conclusion as not only does the building we spawn in fit the style and environment of what it was meant to be, but the others neighboring it as well. The Watcher, now showing himself to us, attempts to guide us in the right direction. Though he states the obvious, his purpose is to build our trust. We traverse through this layer with immense difficulty, creatures roaming hallways, walking the lower floors of a mall, and around the stones in a graveyard. This time, however, the world around us is keeping a steady, consistent theme. It's been much more accurate to the real world as we went further down since Layer 1, almost as if we were recreating memories from past experiences. As we reach the end of this final layer, we find ourselves in a hospital. The Watcher shows himself again, giving us two paths to follow. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna assume Path 2 is the canon exit. We follow down Path 2 and we reveal an unnerving discovery. He was behind it all along. The creatures, the obstacles, they were all him. But we could do nothing about it but attempt to escape this layer. So that's what we do. Like we always have, we reach the end of this layer and find ourselves, yet again, another level. Only this time, we are faced with an immediate threat. But knowing what we know about the Watcher, we'll be prepared. And that wraps up this theory video. I tried my best to tie all the loose ends and make sure everything fits in a way that keeps the story consistent. I know I missed some things such as the Watcher's relation to the Orison, his backstory, and everything on the chalkboard, but that theory really deserves its own in-depth video. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video as it was a lot of fun to make. Hopefully this creates a solid foundation of what the story is for Apeirophobia, since I will likely refer to this video in other future theories. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Stay tuned for next upload. Bye!